Welcome to Mimi's Math Channel. Today I will discuss expected value. This is the formula that I'm going to use. I'm going to set up a table and I'm going to have X values and the probability of X listed in my table. So I will have X times the probability of X plus the next X times its probability, and so on and so forth. Francisco, London, and Cameron plan to invest in Kari's Beauty Bar. There is a 35% chance they will lose $30,000, a 40% chance they will break even, and a chance they will make $55,000. Find the expected value. Based solely on this information, interpret the data. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set up that chart. Okay, so now that the table is set up, what I did is I made two rows, one for my X values and one for my probability of X values. So as I stated earlier, in your formula, what you're going to do is multiply your X values times the probability of X. So for my lose column, this information came from this sentence here that says there's a 35% chance they will lose $30,000. So when I see the word lose, I'm going to automatically put a negative sign in front of the amount. And I just went ahead and converted my percent to decimals by moving the decimal that's normally after your whole number, move it back 2 spaces to the left. And that's where this number is coming from. And then it said a break even. Well, that means I'm neither losing or making money. So that's going to be 0. And then I have a 40% chance. So that's 0.40. And then it says a chance that they will make 55,000. However, it didn't give me a probability. It didn't give me a percentage. So I need to know that once I'm adding this, my probability distribution it has to equal 1. So once I added 0.35 plus 0.40 and I subtracted that from 1, it was 0.25. Or you could have said 100% minus 35% minus 40%. Either way, you would still get this 25%, which as a decimal is 0.25. So now I'm asked to find the expected value. So I'm going to take my X, multiply it times my probability of X, add it to this X times probability of X, add it to this X times the probability of X. So this is what my expected value equation will look like once I put everything in. And I see that the expected value will be 3,250. So now I'm asked to interpret the data. What that means is, on average, as investors, they would make $3,250. So they should proceed as planned. For example 2, we're asked to find the expected value for the spinner. So if I look at the spinner, I see that I have 8 spaces here. If I'm looking at the number 5, there's 4 out of 8. If I'm looking at the number 9, there's 2 out of 8. And if I'm looking at the number 12, then there's also 2 out of 8. So my probability adds up to 1. So 4 out of 8 plus 2 out of 8 plus another 2 out of 8 is 8 out of 8, which is 1. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my table. So again, I set up my X values and my probability of those X's, as I mentioned earlier, what they were. And so now I'm just going to multiply up and down, add, multiply to get the expected value. So my expected value for the spinner is shown here. And my actual amount would be $7.75. For example 3, at a raffle, 2,500 tickets are sold at $5 each for 3 prizes of $1,000, $500, and $100. Diana buys 1 ticket. What is the expected value of her gain? Interpret the data. So the key word here is gain. So I'm going to set up my table a little different. Instead of winning $1,000, I'm actually winning $995 because I had to spend $5 on the ticket. So 1,000 subtract 5 is where the $995 is coming from. And then you would do that for both the 500 as well as the 100. So these are the people that actually are going to win something. So I like to just put right above that these people are winning. So everybody in the first 3 columns. Now, the last column, you'll notice I put a -5, and that is because I had to pay $5, so I'm losing something. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put lose. Now, you also may want to find out how I got my probability. So how many people can win this $995 prize, $495 prize, $95 prize? Only one person. One out of how many? 2,500. So out of those people, only 3 people can win. So the rest of them lose because they paid their money and they didn't win anything. So that would be 2,500 minus those 3 people. That's how many people are going to lose. So that's where that number came from, if you were curious. So now I'm going to take my expected value formula and I'm going to go ahead and multiply each one, and then I'm going to find the sum. So the expected value in this instance is going to be negative $4.36. So if I'm trying to interpret the data, then on average, one can expect to lose $4.36 for each ticket that's bought. All right, please remember to like and subscribe. Have an awesome day.
Subscribe.